We're rolling now?
Yep, we're rolling.
You guys gonna ask questions or no?
Yeah, we'll ask you and kind of cue you.
Sure.
Hang on a minute, I got one I missed from breakfast, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How'd you get into this?
I actually was a break fix company for a number of years, and I had a client who said, "Hey, my son has a company up near Boston. Would you be willing to talk to him? He's an MSP." And at the time, I had no idea what he was talking about, but I'm like, "Sure, I'll go talk to anybody."
Yeah.
So I went up there and they asked us to support a 400-person company for their help desk. And I'm like, okay, there was only like 3 of us.
Did you do it?
100% break fix, had no idea what he was talking about. And he said, we're going to pay you thousands of dollars to support this company. Do you want to do it? I'm like, hell yeah. And I fell into it. I just completely fell into it. And I scrubbed my former company, killed it off. I got rid of all of my other clients, home-based clients. I got rid of all of them and just restarted from the ground up 5 years ago.
That's awesome.
Holy moly. So, like, how many clients did you scrap?
All of them.
All of them, is it like
Hundreds.
How many? Hundreds?
Hundreds.
For one?
No. To restructure. So we were just managed services. That was it.
Holy smokes.
And we continue to do it too. 'Cause, 5 years ago, we merged with another company, and they had hundreds and hundreds of clients, and we have scrubbed them down to the point we continue to do it. And we just let go another 40 clients like last month.
Oh my gosh.
So we're down. So we're very focused on who we're going to service.
Streamlined, yeah. What about you, Ezra? How'd you get into it?
I worked for a defense contractor and was a really small company, constantly asked to kind of right fit enterprise solutions to this itty bitty company, mostly for appearance sake. But, I fought with BlackBerry Enterprise Server long enough that I decided I could probably make a career out of fighting with BlackBerry Enterprise Server and turned into managed services.
How long have you guys both been in business for?
5 years as an MSP.
5 years as an MSP.
Yeah, my current IT company is 5 years old.
And how long did you operate the other company before you switched to this?
8 years.
8 years. Okay. What about you, Ezra?
I started Plain English in 2010, and we didn't get our first managed services client. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted out of it until 2013.
2013. Very cool. I know a lot of guys that we talk to, they're kind of struggling with how to scale or when to take the plunge and like hiring a first technician or their first customer success manager or somebody like that. When did you guys hire your first employee, or what was like the big first hurdle or expense that you guys ran into, and how did you know it was time to take the plunge?
I think trying to get out of the technical role and more into running a company, take it to like, I'm not just an IT extension of a company, and actually turn it into a company that you're running, you're managing it, and you're trying to scale it is kind of important. Like trying to find that first technician that's really skilled, and you want to find the right staff, because IT technicians, they're not all built the same. You can find one with a great personality. That's really key to like have a great service delivery to the clients, and then try to move off and try and start running a company instead. It's really important to do that as quickly as you possibly can.
So if you had to pick between hiring somebody who's extremely competent, higher up the pay scale, right, versus someone that's with less experience, that maybe is more moldable, right, and they cost you less money, for a first hire or first technician, what would you do? Go for it and get the guy that's got all the pedigree, or find somebody that's technically inclined and kind of show them how to do the job?
When I started this business, I was 22 years old, and I did not have money to hire somebody that was really experienced. So I would say that I probably came at it from the wrong angle to start. When I was about 120% of my own capacity for work, I said, oh, hell, I really got to hire somebody. And I hired somebody, and I pretty much hired the first guy that walked in the door. Big mistake. But I learned a lot about that, and I learned, I already knew that I didn't want to employ people that fit the terrible IT stereotype. And I think that stereotype was a lot more prevalent 10 years ago. I think as an industry, we have probably improved the way that we interact with people and perform and dress and present ourselves. So I tried to hire somebody that kind of met those criteria, and he did. Unfortunately, he was a pretty poor IT person. So yeah, I think, as it relates to Arsenal, especially, now that we are, we have some momentum, it's, if you can't do something internally, you owe it to yourself to hire somebody that really knows it through and through. And I feel like, Arsenal is a big success story for me personally, because it was, I was worried taking the plunge to spend the money and invest, and knowing that I wanted to spend, a year with Arsenal, kind of, come what may, to figure it out. And I would say that we do that now with tools, we do that now with staff. We're willing to make the investment. We have the revenue to back it up. Yeah, I feel like I got a little off topic, but that's kind of my endorsement for.
It's good. It's an open conversation about kind of what's going on. What do you think the big challenges are right now for a small managed IT company? Right, they're trying to grow. They're whether they're wanting to build it up to sell it, or they're wanting to build it up to be profitable. Right, when you're going from 5 guys or less, total. What's getting in their way, and how do you recommend they surpass that level, right? Or maybe talk about the ceiling, if you guys bounced off the ceiling before. I hear some guys talk about 500,000 or $1 million, and it's like, man, I just can't get past that. Sometimes it's personnel, sometimes it's we're running out of referrals, sometimes it's the sales guy's going out and he's not doing the job. What have you ran into a ceiling like that, and what did you do to overcome it?
I think, for me, it's constantly taking the temperature of different parts of the business. How is service delivery from a customer, like a touchy-feely perspective? Are we pushing our way through as many tickets as we normally do? If we're not, why? Are we running into something that's more complicated? Has something that we used to do that took us 5 minutes, is it now taking us 30 minutes? In terms of finding new customers, I felt like we had hit a ceiling, and that's a big part of why I took the call from Caleb and Arsenal. So yeah, taking the temperature of all those different parts of your business all the time, it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And if you have a technical role still in your business, I think it's, you really don't leave yourself enough time to manage that. So I think, to echo what you have said, moving out of that technical role as soon as you can will help you grow.
I think you have to take calculated risks, to expand. If you're relying strictly on word of mouth, referrals, you're never going to get to the next level. You're just not going to. Mm-hmm. You have to take some risks. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you have the revenue and you have some savings behind you to, but yeah, you calculate it. You have to be calculated. As far as smaller MSPs, the challenges, there's a lot of very large MSPs out there, in our market at least, and I've heard that from other people that I work with. You have to differentiate yourself from that competition. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the larger MSPs are now starting to do us a favor, because they're not focused on the client experience. Mm-hmm. And they're just leaving it out there for us. So yeah. There's times where I'll go to a new client meeting, and they're like, yeah, we're working with so and so. I'm like, that's fantastic. I know you're gonna be my client now. I know it's coming. And you don't badmouth them. You just listen. Yeah. Just listen. You listen to their pain, and then you show them your value. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's coming, like the way of banking or whatever, right? Everybody's just acquiring everybody, and
yep.
And I do agree. I think they get so big, and it seems like they don't give a shit, that it kind of leaves the door open for you guys to justify why you, right, are a boutique shop and you charge whatever, in comparison to Walmart.
I was just with one of our consultants. They described our size as the white glove boutique MSP. Like if we're still at that size where if you provide that client experience where you know that they can actually reach us as the owners, they're not going through, account manager and like whatever steps they have to reach the person who's in charge. They can easily just call us if they need whatever they need.
Yeah.
And you need that differentiator.
Yeah. 100%.
A lot of people think I need this vertical. I need to be able to focus on whatever is security, whatever. But I think if you focus on the client experience, that's the most important thing.
It's the big thing I try to tell everybody is like, I think the thing that a lot of people are missing is it's just hard to become a customer, right? It's difficult to work or, get signed up, right? We have a shop for you to just grab a sales rep because we think it's easy, right? And the last guy that we brought in to do a video, he's from Winnipeg, okay? And he missed Winnipeg by like a little bit, so somebody actually signed up before him. And they went through this big, curriculum of sales training and shit. They had like 5 different meetings before they would finally bring the prospect out to their site and sit down and have a 90-minute presentation, and then they would put the pricing down at the end, right?
Oof.
So we kind of mutually decided, hey, we should probably part ways because, it's going to be difficult for people to buy. The next guy, he comes in and he kind of listens to what we say, makes it easy to buy from him. He's extremely successful. So, with that said, when you go out and do a sales appointment that we schedule for you, do you approach it the same way that you approach, a referral, right? Or did you come to find that you needed to tweak your sales process a little bit after you started working with us, right? Because I think some people start working with us and they say, okay, cool, I just get more meetings like I've already been going on, and then reality maybe surprises them and it's like, oh, these aren't layups anymore, right? I'm used to scoring 4 points a game, shooting layups only, and now I'll get a good pass every now and then and get a layup. I gotta shoot from mid-range, I gotta shoot from deep, right? All these sales appointments aren't created equal. Mm-hmm. So what do you do to try to make success repeatable or like scalable, right? We try to go through quality control, but what is your thought process when you go into a sales appointment from us?
In tandem, you have to try to develop a relationship with somebody that you have no relationship with if you're only doing referrals is brand new. And you have to make sure that, kind of like you said, your material reflects the experience that they're going to have with you, and we try to make getting support easy. If you need to call us, you can call us and talk to a tech. You don't have to talk to an admin, you don't have to talk to an IVR. But in that same way, the proposal process has to be, it has to be straightforward, it has to make it easy to buy.
And how do you do that? How do you make it easy to buy?
We use proposal software, we use Proposify. So our proposal goes out, we get to see metrics on, who opened it, what they looked at for how long, kind of heat map sort of stuff. They can sign digitally, they can pay with a credit card. We try to make the language really friendly. That's one thing, in our area, I've seen a few competitors' contracts and they're 35 pages of 5-point font, and it doesn't go over well. One of the things I learned, I used to run a cell phone store, and you'd hand people a cell phone contract back in the day at 2-year agreements, and they go, oh my God, what am I signing? And it's like, well, this is the part that tells you that you're not going to get coverage underground, so don't try, and it's not our fault. This is the part that says you got to pay your bill. So we try to make our contract easy to read and understand so that it doesn't scare people away. We try to reinforce over and over again, that the experience that they have with us matters to us. We have client testimonials in our proposal and things like that.
Very good. Very good. How long would you estimate that your package that they have to sign is? Right, they've got a contract. Is it 5 pages?
No,
2 pages?
it's more than that. The contract is 2 pages,
Okay.
but all of the kind of supplemental material that we send along is probably closer to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, I would like it to be shorter,
Mm-hmm.
but I also want to make sure that a lot of time we'll send a proposal to somebody who either has access to a decision maker or is one of many decision makers,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has to be shared around.
Mm-hmm.
Nonprofits are a great example of that. If they have to take it to the board, you're not going to probably get the opportunity to explain it to the board, to walk them through it, to build that relationship. So all they're going to get is that packet that you send.
Mm-hmm.
So in that vein, we make the pricing component of our proposal really easy to find. The signing component is really easy to find. And then the rest of it is there for people to peruse and kind of take what resonates with them and hopefully, engage us.
What about you?
Our sales process is super easy. I pre-qualify them instantly. If we do a Zoom call, pre-qualify them. I'll know if they're going to be a fit pretty quick. I generally do like an on-site next, where I'll meet whomever, and I will ask them what their budget is, how much they're spending. I will ask for their invoices from their current MSP, and if they balk, and say, hey, I want to compare. I want to know exactly what you're getting provided for services, and so I'm like, I want to be able to compare apples to apples. You might know, not a lot of times they don't know exactly what they're getting for service, and they're just paying X amount of dollars per month. And I will ask them, hey, what's your spend monthly, just to make sure, all right, we're on the same page here, good to go. So when we get to the point where we're talking about real money, this is what you're getting, they already know.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like them just sign, we give you a deposit, let's go, let's get on it.
Yeah, and I think that's like really important. A lot of folks try to like defer the money conversation till the end.
It should be instantaneous. It should be right away.
Right? Like, don't you feel like you're wasting time?
You're going to put all that work into this long ass proposal, and get to the end where they have no idea how much it costs, and then they're shocked.
Yeah.
It's like shock them right up front.
Yeah.
You're going to shock them, and we're all within the same realm of price point, whether it's per desktop or user or whatever it is. We're all relatively, and if you have somebody who's way out here, and they're that much less expensive, and that's what they're drawn to, they're probably not a good fit for us.
And I think another thing is like they're probably not going to be drawn to you at this time, but if you let them know what your price is, and maybe they become dissatisfied with this low-level service, then they at least feel like they don't have to renegotiate with you. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of guys are missing. I'd be curious, have you guys given a contract or a quote or proposal to somebody up front, they haven't signed or they balked at it, and then we continue to follow up with them, and the interest is restarted again? Have you guys had an experience like that? You've been with us a while, Ezra not as long, so maybe not yet, but have either of you guys experienced that yet?
We've had a couple of times where they just needed a little more pain with their current MSP. Really, that's what it is. Honestly, if I listen to one of the recordings and I don't hear any pain points there, and they're just saying I'm just shopping, I just want to know what the price is. It's not going to fit. It's just not. I know it won't.
Okay.
We're not the cheapest. I don't want to be the cheapest. We're not going to be the cheapest. And if that's what you're looking for, you're not a good fit for us. So usually they either become a client or they don't. We don't usually. It's happened a couple times where they came back. They're like, "Oh, hey, we reconsidered."
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often, like once in a great while, but not usually.
What about
Yeah,
you?
we have definitely had that happen. Not with Arsenal yet, but we have definitely put a proposal in somebody's hands and like, oh my God, this is so expensive. Nobody in the world could possibly pay this. We're like, well, every single other one of our customers is paying that amount. Happy to talk to you again whenever you're ready. And they go away, and I think for sure that we're not going to talk to them again. We had one customer that came to us in the midst of a big security event, and they said, "Yeah, our other guy didn't do the thing, and now we're here. Can you help us?" A lot of time we'll turn that work down now because we're too busy. But yeah, we have picked it up. That customer is a fabulous customer now.
Well, come on and be a monthly recurring customer. So I think a lot of guys are leaving money or opportunities on the table, right, by not giving a contract when they're shopping.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree or argue with results, right? So Shawn, you got amazing results, but maybe for guys who don't have as streamlined of a sales process and they kind of want to set it and forget it, I think that kind of like you were saying, if you get them the contract, this is too much now, well then maybe you have a bad experience between now and a year from now or 6 months from now, and then the prospect doesn't feel like they lose their leverage. Like, oh shit, Shawn's going to charge me more money than he originally would have. Like Shawn, they can call you and be like, hey Shawn, is this
still good?
Is $10,000 a month still good? Or I know there's 12% inflation or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're really trying to encourage guys to do that. So I'm just curious if you had that experience. What's like the most interesting deal that you had through us? or longest deal, or
The first one was long.
yeah.
We started talking to them in February.
Uh-huh.
We closed them September.
Oh,
So it
jeez.
took a while.
Wow.
But they actually bought out of their contract to go with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So-
They bought out, I think it was 3 months they had, their buyout was,
Mm-hmm.
to go with us. So that one took a while. Where Lewis landed one, he called them up, they signed, it was like almost instant.
Uh-huh.
It was like within a month.
Yeah.
It was I think it was like $8,000.
Yeah.
It was like
Oh,
instant.
Was
instant.
that manufacturing deal? Did you look at? Remember to edit that out.
Yeah, I got you.
No names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, for your protect, we don't want people
Right.
shopping your deals.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stealing customers.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah. Do you realize how long it took for Lewis to get that appointment?
sometimes I go back,
Uh-huh.
especially if they pop out of nowhere. I'll go back and look. How many times did they call? I don't know if I looked at that one. I can't remember.
He started calling that deal, or we started calling that deal, in January of 2021.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, they were with 15 years with their current guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to buy them.
They were totally fine, and the decision maker, or the major influencer, right? There was an owner, and then there was like an ops person or whatever.
Yeah.
Said we're all good, blah 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 blah. Call back in a couple months. Calls back in a couple months. They say we're real slow, due to COVID, can't do anything. That's in May, and then in October, the major influencers changed, right? And now they're looking for. I think his notes said cybersecurity and
Yep.
and they're not proactive enough and all that stuff.
Yep.
So Lewis calls on, if my memory's right, December 28th, right, where everybody's taken, that time off. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. Then I think you ran that meeting in January,
Yep.
and then you closed it in March.
It
or
was
something
quick.
like that.
It was
Yeah.
really quick.
So that's how a lot of it works. So,
We had another one who was, I actually was nervous about taking them on, so I made them and I said, we're gonna do an audit of what you have for your infrastructure.
uh-huh.
They were begging us to take them on.
Wow.
It wasn't the other way around.
Wow.
And they were, yep, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's probably was like, it seemed like
That
it was
one was
a good
super
amount of
quick.
money, right, for maybe a larger managed services deal, or is that kind of a normal size deal for you?
Which one?
That is like 50 users, right, or whatever, the manufacturing deal.
They're 50 to 70 users, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that's I think some guys get a little bit impatient and like, man, I need deals like right now, and like sometimes you just gotta be the last guy standing. It's like they're with you for 15 years, that's great, but when they screw up, who do they want to call? It's like, well, the guy that's been calling me for the past year.
Yeah.
They really want my business, And then Ezra, what about you? What's like an interesting deal or?
So we've
or
only
opportunity?
closed one so far,
Uh-huh.
but we've been close with a couple of others. The one that we've closed, I've been calling on that account for 5 years.
Uh-huh.
I have hired other salespeople to call on that account.
Really?
Yeah, it's a sign shop in town, and they have a great reputation. They work all over the region, not just in our city. And we have a couple other sign shops. We knew we wanted to kind of continue in that industry, and I didn't even mention it to Caleb. He found the lead on his own, picked it up, called, got connected. Their old IT guy I think they think he needs to retire, which says a lot about his performance. And that was one of those customers where they were shocked. We walked in and gave them a proposal, and they, oh my God, nobody could possibly be paying this much. This is just way too much money. Okay, well, here's what we're offering. We can tell just by walking around that, you're not receiving everything that we're offering right now. And, here's
In a nice way.
Yeah.
here's how we think it would, benefit your business. And I usually try to keep a couple of those, in my back pocket. This is a way where we think, you could tangibly benefit from this, where you would notice right away. And that was one of those deals where you had to go in and pitch to like 4 different people at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is probably speaks to my inexperience as a salesperson more than anything. But
Why? What's wrong with pitching to 4 people?
I mean, well, with this company, it's that they don't talk to each other when they're not in the same room. So
Really?
yeah. So there are a lot of CCs on emails with them. but
Ah.
we're kind of narrowing our tightening the reins, so to speak, and telling them, look, we need a point of contact and a secondary point of contact, and then you guys need to communicate internally. And we do a lot of that. And I think in our market there are plenty of customers that have never, or prospects I guess, that have never had managed IT. They have had incidental support. They don't understand why they should be spending regular recurring money until we show them. And so anyways, yeah, we have helped, I think, improve their business. In fact, I got a message from the owner of that company saying, hey, thanks for getting everybody on the same page. That's something that we struggle with.
Wow.
So,
Very,
yeah.
well, I think that speaks to your adaptability, right?
Sure.
Some people, would want to puke if they walked into a sales meeting with 4 people. They want to take an order, not go convince 4 different. It's hard enough to convince one person,
That
right?
manufacturing place, the whole table is full of people. I had no idea I was going into that.
Really? Like how
I
many
thought it was
people?
one.
How many people do you think were there?
There was 6 people in that meeting,
gosh.
and it was owner's wife, CFO, COO, and then the project manager guy who was the point of contact that
Yeah.
Lewis kept calling.
Oh, jeez.
It was out.
Those are the best. Like it's owner and owner junior and owner the third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are real.
This
fun.
isn't like a small place. It's like these people are pretty important. They're
Yeah.
making some bank there.
Yeah, absolutely. What? So some people talk about how manufacturing is not a good
Oh my gosh.
industry. What
That's one
blows
of
my
the
mind,
best.
like, I don't want to talk manufacturing. They don't give a shit about technology.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them have to, right?
It's one of those. It's like one of them that's really up and coming. There's a lot more compliance that's going on with them, especially about the parts or things that they're selling to. Where's that part going? Is it going to be
Yeah.
like a government kind of contract sort of deal? And they have
yeah.
a lot of standardizing compliance issues.
Oh yeah, I forget all the acronyms now.
CMMC.
NIST and CMMC.
Yeah,
and
that's
we've got-
huge. It's huge up and coming thing.
Good. Well, what do you think? What's like your favorite industries to sell into? If you had to give advice to somebody and be like, hey, you're just getting started, try to go sell into these 3 or these 2.
It's really easy to sell into a service-based business if you're a service-based business. So as an MSP, it's really easy to walk into an HVAC company and go, look, we can help you implement new technologies. We can, clean up your downtime. We can keep your staff, accountable, and they like that. So I think that that's a really easy win for an MSP. We do probably 8 to 10 HVAC companies.
Oh.
And
There
yeah,
you go.
it's great. Manufacturing is awesome. We have a couple of customers in that industry, predominantly in I don't know if it counts as manufacturing. I guess it probably doesn't. Food, that's not manufacturing. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, probably,
Yeah,
that's what I
close
said. They
enough.
manufacture food,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, they stamped chocolates and things like that
Yeah.
on huge production lines.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some of the food, right? I've eaten before. It looks manufactured.
Yeah,
It doesn't
comes-
necessarily look organic,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Slightly processed.
Yeah,
right?
slightly. What about you, man? What do you think a good place to start is?
Definitely in manufacturing. We have a lot of nonprofits too.
Really?
Schools, churches.
Nonprofits
School
are
churches.
divisive here. Divisive. There's a camp that says I will never touch a nonprofit. They're
Really?
broke. They have no money. They always want favors. Then the other groups, like, they're awesome. They're ran by people with money that want to support a cause. So, like, how do you know? Or have you had that experience? Have they all been good, or do you walk into a nonprofit sometimes and know that this one's probably not a good one or a good prospect?
If a client sees the value in technology and not as like it's something they just have to have and they don't really want to, right there like
Yeah.
you sort of have an in where they have to see the value in it, whether it's a nonprofit or manufacturer, whatever it is. That's just one of those things.
Yeah. So is that like just a feeling, a gut feeling you get, or do you ask the people?
You gotta
like,
ask. You
do you
gotta
give a
ask.
shit? Do you care about technology, or is this just a line item? Is this just an expense?
We ask those questions.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We ask, and we want to know what your budget is.
Does it blow up ever? Like,
Oh yeah.
People,
Yeah, I had one. I had one blow.
What
It
did- what
probably
did
would
they
have been $10,000 a month, and I said, so what's your budget like for IT? And she goes, well, I'm not going to disclose that. And I go, okay, why not? Well, I just feel like you might max your price out to match our budget or whatever. I forget exactly what it was she said, but that was her pain point. And I said, well, if you can't trust us, why you even have this meeting with me?
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving. I ended up saying, look, we're not interested in this. We can refer you to some people that might be interested in doing the work. But I ask every nonprofit, what's your budget? And if they ask us for a discount right out of the gate, we tell them.
You can do it like a shop. If you, how many devices you have, you just ask some questions.
Yeah.
And if they won't give you the budget number.
Yeah.
You're like, well, how many? Okay, based on what you've told me, you're around this price.
Yeah.
And then they're like either freak out, or they're like they're good.
Yeah.
And then you continue the conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just pre-qualifying with that. If they won't, like, I'll get like maybe a third of the people. They're like, oh, we don't have a budget. There's a red flag right there.
Yeah.
Sure. Followed immediately by what did you spend last year?
Yeah, like what are you spending right now with? Yeah, you can get the information out. You just have to maneuver and dig a little bit.
I think that's one of the benefits of having a cost, or a model where you price per user or device or something like that. Because if they say, I don't trust you, maybe, or I'm used to people just eyeballing what my budget and making it, arrive at that amount. You can tell them, well, look, we're $150 or we're $200 a user a month. And, if you've got a piece of collateral, you can pull it out and say, here you go, right? I'm just asking if I'm going to be double what you're expecting to spend,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a good way to go about it. What kind of, any red flags or, when you walk into an environment, what should people be looking out for? When do you turn around immediately, right? You talked about, hey, you don't value technology, or, is it a certain amount of, I don't know, decision makers in the meeting, or you see wires hanging from the ceiling, like when do you know that, probably not spend my time here?
It's one of those things. You guys got us a lead, right? It's like right around the corner from us.
Uh-huh.
I went to go meet them, and it's usually, who's your current IT? I know a guy, flag there.
Yeah.
Number 2, are you looking to have somebody manage your IT on a reoccurring basis? Yes or no?
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not. Red flag. Well, I'm out.
Mhm.
Number 3, if you look around and their infrastructure is a mess, like a rat's nest with really old equipment, there you go. They might not see the value in IT, or they didn't know any better and they just let it go to crap, right?
Yeah.
And just continue down that, like, the more red flags, you just keep probing, pre-qualifying until you can figure out whether or not they're gonna be a good fit for you. Because again, if you go down the rabbit hole of pricing it out and these proposals and you don't know their budget and we got better things to do.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of clients out there, like why would you, let's go to the next one.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
a lot out there.
Yeah.
There's no shortage. There really
No,
isn't.
you go get more, right?
Yeah.
I think that's maybe one of the things about going from referrals to outbound. It's like, oh man, I can't waste this referral. It's like, well, no, I got other things to do, man.
Just put the next one in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories. We had an appointment with somebody, and we walked into their server room, and normally I won't say anything about it, but it was a mess. I mean, there was like 25-foot Ethernet cables going 6 inches into a patch cable, and I mean like hundreds of them, all sorts of different colors. And I go, yeah, we'll come in and clean this up. It'll be a project, but it'll be a lot easier to see in here. Our techs will know how to find things. We're going to document it and take photos. And they go, well, we don't want to pay for that.
Holy crap.
See you later, dude.
Okay, bye.
See ya. That would have ended the conration right there.
Yeah, we left. Yeah. Okay, well, you're not doing the bare minimum. We're not even gonna try.
Yeah. What I guess final questions. Is there any kind of technology, tool, software, something like that maybe is not extremely popular that you think is up and coming that people should be checking out? Maybe a company that's unknown, challenging some of the bigger players that you like, or you're sentimental towards, that you would advise somebody to check out?
We just started trialing Auto Elevate, which allows for escalation for end users, so they can attempt to access something that would typically require an administrator password or try to install software, and we get an alert immediately that tells us, hey, so and so is trying to access this. Do you want to allow it? Do you want to deny it? If you choose to allow it, we can enable it for that person, that computer, that site, or the company, or all of our customer base. So that has been really interesting because historically we have not approached things that way. If you need software installed, you need to open a ticket, we'll review it, we'll schedule it, we'll install it. frankly, that takes too much time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's frustrating to people. And when you come in, like I've said in our market, you know, there's a lot of companies that have never had managed IT services before, so everybody's an admin everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we come in and take that away, you know, we get a lot of pushback. We all know it's good for security. Even the customer will acknowledge that it's good for security.
Mm-hmm.
But this lets us respond to those things in 90 seconds instead of
Mhm.
15 minutes, you know, or 30 minutes of scheduling and tickets back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything you recommend checking out?
Up and coming things.
Yeah, yeah.
100% like compliance. 100%. It's huge. It's going to be huge. Everybody, every industry it'll touch, every single one will have some kind of compliance standards. There's so many breaches and data leakage and things like that. That's probably the number one.
Number one thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Well, guys, I think that's all the questions I have. Anything else you'd like to say to a up and coming managed IT company, or guys getting rolling? Words of encouragement or advice?
I don't know. I think standardize, pick a lane. Try to have some sort of vertical so you can. There's a lot of MSPs out there. If you really need to differentiate yourself.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're picking up somebody else's scraps that might come your way.
Yeah.
Don't rely on referrals only.
Yeah.
You really need to take a chance and try and do some kind of outbound lead gen. You really have to. Otherwise, you're just waiting around.
Yeah.
The phone might ring, might not ring.
Might not.
They might not. And you don't have a reputation yet. Like,
Yeah.
where are you going to get your leads from?
You gotta go get them.
You got to go get them.
Yeah.
What about you, man? Anything?
Don't be afraid to spend the money. Don't be afraid to walk away from clients that aren't a good fit. Don't be afraid to charge more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh, everybody's so scared.
Charge more
I've
money.
heard the theory:
Don't
double
work.
your prices, lose half your clients, right?
Yeah.
Do half the work.
Yeah. Save them out, right?
Yeah, that's one thing that I tell people all the time is, if you aren't financially in a really bad spot, then just focus on adding things at the top of your funnel, add to your top line, invest in the tools, embrace them. I mean, if you don't have people that are willing to embrace change and tools on your team, fire them. Find people that want to explore, want to feel out what the whole industry has to offer, and try things. I was opposed to Auto Elevate for a long time, but I think that our approach is very end user focused. So focus on making it a good experience for the customer.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks for coming in. Thanks for doing this. It's awesome. Really appreciate your
Yeah,
business.
thanks for
And
having us.
appreciate you taking time to kind of share your advice and experience and things like that's going to help out a lot of people.
Thank you.
All right.